Good evening, I'm Colm Colgan and you're welcome to the Business and Enterprise Show, Ireland's only live web-based business TV programme with over 2 million views in over 200 countries. And as always, we're coming to you live from our state-of-the-art studios in the Cavan Crystal Hotel, Dublin Road in Cavan. Absolutely freezing outside, cold, wet, miserable weather. But that's okay because tonight's guest is a travel agent. So Glenda Heery of TravelCounsellors.com are you going to take us away from all this weather?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes. And as always, Glenda, before we find out about Travel Counsellors, let's hear a little about Glenda Heery.
Well, Colm, I live in Ballyborough.
Nice place to live.
Beautiful little town, yes. I'm married to another Colm. We have 3 small boys. Our fourth baby is due in July. I've worked in travel for the last 12 years in various travel agencies.
God, you must have started very young.
Yes. Well, I'm still young, Colm. In various travel agencies in Cavan and Meath. Predominantly my experience would be in the leisure sector. And then in the last 2 years, I gained experience in corporate travel.
Great. And did you always want to be in travel?
No. When I was filling out my college application, I had actually chosen beauty therapy for some reason unknown to myself. As I was looking through the list of courses, I seen travel and tourism as an option. Thought, yes, that might actually be a bit better. So I did my 2-year diploma in Cavan Institute. And looking back now, I absolutely made the right decision because I thoroughly enjoy my job. Every day is different. Every inquiry is different. Really, really love what I do. And I don't think many people say that.
Absolutely. And not only do not many people say that they actually love their job, not many people say, you know what, the course I took in college is what I'm at now.
Yes.
Most people have degrees in something that bears absolutely no bearing on what they do. Yeah. Now, you say you worked in travel agencies around the counties, I should say, Cavan and Meath. In those 12 years, has the travel industry changed?
Hugely, yes. The big thing that would have changed would definitely be the technology. When I started 12 years ago, we had to physically handwrite all of the airline tickets. Or if we were checking availability for a holiday, we had to call each of the tour operators individually. And that was extremely time consuming. Do you know, we could spend 3 or 4 hours just checking one thing. When I started with Travel Counsellors, the thing that really surprised me was the standard of technology. It's super efficient in terms of finding results for the best airfares, for the best hotel prices, which then makes me very efficient and helps me get back to my customers very quickly. So technology is the big thing.
Now, you mentioned there, Travel Counsellors, that's the business you're with. I suppose you could nearly call it an unusual setup for a travel agency. What's different about Travel Counsellors and the way they operate?
Well, what's different from travel counsellors to travel agents, I think, first of all, is that we really care about our customers. We take time to find out what their likes are, what their dislikes are, maybe even what they do for hobbies, because we take all of that information and incorporate it into when we're looking for their holiday, to find that perfect family holiday or cruise or honeymoon or even business trip to get it right for the client. Do you know? What also makes us different is our time. I don't work set hours. I don't work 9 to 5. I work around my customers. Generally, evening times, weekends are my busiest times. Do you know, when they come home from work, get the kids to bed, have dinner, then they usually want to sit down then and start discussing their options for the summer. Yeah.
So, in other words, you don't have, we'll say, a travel office per se. Your travel office is actually the sitting room of your customers.
It can be, yes.
You bring everything to them and you sit down and you say, right, I suppose the first question has to be asked, you know, no point in beating about the bush. What's your budget? Where do you want to go? Who's coming with you? And what do you want to do?
Yes.
An awful lot of people don't have the answers to those questions in their own heads.
That's
they
true.
Just know summer's coming. If I don't get out of here, I'll go absolutely gaga. We'll do something.
Yes.
But often you don't know.
I thoroughly enjoy when somebody says that they have no idea where they want to go, because that then gives me a lot of scope to work on. Do you know? And it's by finding out what they like to do outside of their working day that helps me find the right holiday for them.
And there's kind of many different types of holidays. Is there anything that you specialise in, or do you just specialise in whatever the customer wants? Like, are you cruise specialists, package holidays, or as you said, the corporate, where just, look, get me from A to B as quickly as possible, and get me, which is often as more important, getting me back as quickly as possible?
Yeah, I specialise in the family holiday market, cruises, honeymoons and corporate travel. Those would be my areas of expertise.
Yeah.
If there is something that I'm not familiar with or a destination that I haven't been to, one of my colleagues certainly have. And it's when you can give a customer first-hand information on a destination, like maybe a nice little restaurant that they could go and have dinner in, or something to see that's off the beaten track that not many people actually know about. Those are the little things that will make that holiday memorable for the client.
So a lot of the areas that you recommend, have you been there? Or have you?
I have travelled extensively.
Have you?
I have.
Obviously
not as much as I'd like, but yes, I have travelled a fair bit.
What's your favourite destination?
You've put me on the spot now. Well, Cyprus is a beautiful destination. I actually got married in Cyprus. My second after that would be cruising. Love cruises. I think they're just fantastic.
Are they?
Yes.
They must have changed a lot.
They have
Cruises
changed a lot.
I've always blue-rinsed ladies and kind of men going to dinner in their cavalier twill trousers and their tweed jackets. That's my opinion of, my idea of a cruise. But if they let a young one like you on it and you have great fun on it, they must have changed a lot.
Oh, they've changed vastly. They used to be known as the Blue Rinse Brigade that used to go on the cruises. But I've been on 3 myself.
Because I do remember saying that to somebody, and it was pointed out to me, I'm not too far away from the Blue Rinse Brigade myself, so it might suit me. So that brought me down a peg. But I interrupted you, sorry.
You're all right. I've done the Caribbean, I've done the Mediterranean and over towards the Greek islands. I couldn't have been more wrong about the clientele on board or the facilities that are available. It's so mixed. There's families, honeymooners, young groups of people who may be travelling during spring break. And yes, there are certain areas that do cater for the older clientele. But when you know your customer and you know your ships, that's where I come in, do you know?
Now, when you're on a ship for, I don't know, most of the day, I suppose, and certainly the gust of the week, what are the facilities that are on modern cruise ships?
There are endless, Colm. For example, entertainment, do you know? There might be a theatre, there'll be a casino.
Cinema?
Yes.
Playing reruns of Titanic?
Maybe even a bowling alley, a water park on board, the go-karting, circus school, all of these things are on board. You might have up to 20 different restaurants that you can have dinner in. Maybe, again, the same number of bars that you can in. You don't have to eat in the same place twice. Do you know?
And can you still eat at the captain's table?
Yes, you can.
Can you?
Yes.
You have to be very special to get that.
No,
I can tell the way you've eaten at the captain's
no,
table, haven't you?
No, I haven't. No.
Now, the big question, I suppose, if you were to bring families, what about Wi-Fi? Do people have to be separated from their Blackberries or their
Not at all. The
smartphones?
new ships that were only released or launched there the end of last year, I was on it there, the Quantum of the Seas by Royal Caribbean. That is the
name drop, are you?
That is known as the smart ship. They had the gadget man on board who kitted it out, you know, with all the up-to-date technology. Yeah. So yes, there is Wi-Fi.
There's Wi-Fi, so you can get your kind of. Which I suppose is a good and a bad thing. If you're looking to get away on a holiday, and they can still track you down, it's bad news. But if you're under a certain age and if you can't get your Wi-Fi to check everything, so even on a cruise ship, you can. So you'd recommend cruise ships, yeah?
I would, thoroughly.
Now, the stop-off destination, we say the Caribbean. I mean, what's going to do the Mediterranean? Let's go exotic. The Caribbean, what are some of the countries that you'd stop off there?
For example, on a 7-night itinerary, you might have 3 to 4 stops. So you could have Mexico, Jamaica, the Bahamas, and then maybe Haiti as well, which is one of their own private islands.
What about Cuba? Is that? I know it's starting to open up. as a holiday destination, and I'm sure it would be an ideal location to drop anchor if you're a cruise ship.
Yeah, it might be on some of the itineraries. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you have to get off?
No, you don't.
No, sorry, I don't mean you have to get off this boat. But if you want to stay on the boat without getting off, now I myself would go absolutely gaga if I couldn't hit dry land at least once a day. But if you wanted to stay in the boat, could you be totally and utterly entertained for the entire week?
Absolutely.
Without getting off it?
Yes, you could, yeah. A lot of people go on cruises purely for the ship, not necessarily the itinerary. So they go to spend their full time on board the ship to make use of all of the facilities that are available. Other people go for the itinerary rather than the
you
ship.
said there, do you really noticed is the difference in technology that you have in the travel agencies, where you can kind of check the availability of everything, all no doubt via the internet.
Yes.
Which is obviously brilliant for travel agents. But by the same token, has the internet not completely changed the way people travel? The fact that they can book their own tickets and, like, not an ad break goes on the TV without some search engine, be it hotels combined, hotels this, hotels that, or bookings.com, which my daughter gets great fun out of the pronunciation and the fun on the joke. Has that not changed how people travel? And to a certain extent, has it not almost nearly done away with the need for travel agents?
Not at all, Colm. I would completely disagree with that. Yes, there are people who like to do everything themselves and will book on the internet, but I myself personally have noticed a huge U-turn in customers over the last number of years. People who used to book with travel agents then decided that they might go and book it themselves online. And then, some people have got burned, hotel sites have
What are some of the horror
crashed.
stories people have come up with by doing it all themselves?
Well, by arriving at the hotel and there's been no reservation, or booking a flight and not realising that there might have been a 12-hour stop en route or something like that. But people come to travel agents because they want the expert advice. They want the help, and they trust you to get it right for them.
And obviously there's an element of protection.
Of course,
booking with,
we are fully licensed and bonded by the Commission of Aviation Regulation.
Now, what is it I think every travel agent says that at the end of their ad. But from a practical point of view, if you're going on holidays, like God between us and all harm, travel counsellors go bust.
Yes.
What does being fully licensed and bonded mean to the actual end user or the customer?
It means that their money is completely safe.
Okay, their money is completely safe, but like I booked with a travel agent, they'd gone bust, and I'm in Jamaica.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm in Jamaica, but we say I'm in Jamaica. How do I get home? Okay, my money is safe, but like I'm still in Jamaica.
So the tour operator will get that customer home, and their travel insurance will come into play as well.
But if the tour operator has gone...
If the tour operator has gone bust, well then it comes back to the travel agent then. The travel agent will get that client home.
So in other words, you have a belt and braces.
Absolutely.
You have two protection.
Yes.
So a travel agent could go bust, and while you're on your holidays, and you mightn't even notice the difference. You're booked to go home on 8 o'clock flight to Dublin, and it's only when you get home that you might find out that they're... So that is probably a huge selling point.
It is, yes. It's the security, definitely.
I suppose flights are straightforward enough because you're probably dealing with your Ryanair or your big airlines, but it's your accommodation. You're booking on a. You don't even know our sort of website you're booking on because you're booking through one and then you're going on to another, and then if there's a problem, well, who do you pay the money to? Well, I'm not sure. So naturally, you'd always recommend using a travel agent. And not only would you recommend using a travel agent, you'd recommend using travel counsellors of absolutely course. Now, travelcounsellors.com, are they an Irish, English, American? Where's the parent?
They're predominantly a UK company. We are an international-based company now at the moment. We have 1,700 travel counsellors worldwide. We're based in 8 countries. some of which are Australia, Canada, Dubai, the UK, Ireland. Currently have 63 travel counsellors in Ireland.
Very good.
When I started 12 months ago, there was only 54, so we are getting bigger. We have our head office in Cork, and we recently had a radio ad on Today FM, which was advertising travel counsellors. So we are getting the brand out there, and people are becoming more aware of travel counsellors.
Now, of the 62 travel counsellors in Ireland, do they have a specific region, or perhaps free for all is not the correct terminology, but you know what I mean? Can you help a customer from any part of Ireland,
Yes.
or do you have a specific region?
Not at all. I have customers who are based from Donegal to Cork, nationwide.
And do each individual council, would they have different specialities? Like
Yes.
I know you said you looked after, so you were trained in corporate travel over the last couple of years. Would that be a speciality? Some people would have, like, would Glenda look after a certain sector of customers, and then another one would look after another sector?
Yes.
Or so what?
We all have our own expertise.
What's your expertise?
Well, mine is corporate travel, cruises, and
again,
honeymoons.
corporate travel, another term that's thrown out.
Yeah.
What's often corporate travel?
It's people who travel for work, for business. And usually corporate travel is very demanding. People want their flight details, their hotels booked, within a very short space of time, and they usually travel within 7 days. So, it has to have a fast
I'm sure
turnaround.
you're probably lucky if you do get 7 days notice.
Sometimes,
Yes.
yeah.
Sorry, did nobody ring you today about my flight tomorrow? No. Well, I'm going out tomorrow. Arrange it. That type of thing, yeah?
Yes.
And I suppose an awful lot of it, because having done a bit of travel myself for business, you like to get in and out on the same day, even if you're kind of going...
A lot of people do, yeah, they do. It's there for their business meeting and come home. And it's usually the quickest possible flights that they would require, not necessarily the cheapest.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Cost, although is a factor, because all businesses have to watch the bottom line.
Yes.
As you said, the speed of getting somebody in and out. If you have a top-notch salesman, if he's 2 days over in Spain for a one-day meeting,
Yes.
there's a day he's not going to put.
Well, that's where I give them both options. I will give them the cheapest and the quickest, and then let them decide which it is that they prefer.
Now, again, going back to the domestic holidays or the family holidays, do destinations come into fashion and go out of fashion?
Sometimes they do.
And would they be prompted by television shows, the travel shows? Like if somebody's doing a special on, I'll say Jamaica again. I don't know what my fascination with Jamaica is. If there's a fashion show, sorry, not a fashion show, a travel show, and they're specialising in Jamaica over the weekend, on Monday, do you find you
sometimes might get a couple of calls inquiring about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. People can be swayed by the television programs, yeah.
And then would you kind of help them in that direction, or would you say, well, look, I know you're thinking of going to Jamaica, but like you've got 4 kids under 5, perhaps Jamaica isn't the best destination. In other words, like if somebody comes on to you and
if I really don't think it's for them,
yeah,
if I think that there's something a bit closer to home that would be more suitable, yes, I would always go with what I think would be most suitable for them.
Now, let's be honest, money is still tight around. Is the cost still, is that number one priority, or are people starting to say, look, I want a fancy destination. Do you know what, I've gone to the Algarve for the past 3 years. Well, they'd be bloody lucky if we got to the Algarve for the past 3 years. But we say somebody's fed up going to the Algarve and say, Glenda, I want to go somewhere exotic. Or are most people still saying, look, I have a small budget,
Yeah.
What can we get for that?
In some cases, cost is a factor, yes. But what we do is we take everything into account. We take where they would like to go, how long for, how many people are travelling, if there's children, how old the children are, will be a factor as well. And we work around that then. We'll give them a couple of options. Do you know, if their budget is tight, I will get them something close to the budget. But if I think something is more suitable for not that much more, I will always offer that also.
What destinations this year are people looking at?
The destination can vary on the client. So families maybe with small children like the shorter flight times. So your Spain, your Portugal, that type of thing. Families.
So you don't get 4 hours of, are we there yet? Are we there yet? No, I can look out the window and I can still see Dublin Airport. We're not there yet.
Then families with older children, they tend to like the action and adventure. So they might go to places a bit more like Dubai or Orlando or even cruising. Then your honeymooners typically like the maybe Las Vegas and then go and relax in the Caribbean, all inclusive in Mexico, something like that. My corporate clients tend to be going to Asia or Germany at the moment. So it varies.
Now, we've had a lot of immigration here in Ireland over the past number of years. Are families now starting to put holidays together to go visit their
in
children
Australia
in
and Canada.
And places like that? Have you noticed that trend?
I have noticed that, yes.
And I suppose a lot of that would be kind of flight only, because again, there's no point in having a relative in such an exotic destination and getting a hotel when you can kind of sleep on their floor or kick them out of their beds.
Sometimes, they'll stay with them for a while and then maybe towards the end they might do a bit of sightseeing themselves.
When they get sick of them, like. Yeah. They were so glad to see it, and then they just remembered why they left, you know. Honeymoons, that's always a big part, you know. I know a couple of years ago, we were going on honeymoons to very exotic countries, the Maldives, the Seychelles, all exotic places like that. Is that still the case, or has kind of maybe a bit of sense sprung to the market? So people were spending up to 10 grand, you know, on their honeymoon. Mind you, they had probably just spent 5 grand on the dress, you know. Yes. It kind of beat my kind of 1 week in Blackpool in 1984, but things have moved on a little since then. But are exotic honeymoons still kind of coming up?
Oh, they are, honeymoons can vary so much. It can vary from maybe a 3-night city break to a tour of China to a 3-center holiday in Thailand.
Who'd go to Thailand on their honeymoon? Maybe on a stag's night, but
there's some beautiful areas in Thailand for honeymooners. There are, and it's very good value for money as well.
Is it? Funny enough, somebody else was saying that to me, that a lot of countries that we just kind of we assume it's very kind of it sounds very exotic. It must be very expensive. Actually, it's quite reasonable when you get it. And apart from anything else, a lot of what you'd nearly call third world countries, the likes of your Thailands and that type of thing, might be expensive-ish to get over there. But, you know, you could live for your 2 weeks over there nearly on
for very little.
For very little, you know.
Yeah, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Sri Lanka even. Do you know, they're all becoming hugely popular because of the value for money that people get when they're there.
You don't have to go very far from the 9 o'clock news to know that there's a lot of wars going on in a lot of areas. Like I know Egypt is kind of pulling itself apart. Not that long ago, was it Sheikh El Amer?
Sharm el Sheikh.
Sharm el Sheikh, that place, that was a huge holiday destination.
Yes,
you know, Tunisia. Apparently, Tunisia were because the sister-in-law goes a lot to Tunisia, and they have compounds where A, there's no need for you to leave the compound, and B, everything is in on the price.
Yes.
Is the security of various destinations now becoming a fairly serious point to be taken on board when you're booking a holiday?
I think it always is a serious point that you need to consider.
Yeah. We
would always contact the local embassies and see what the situation is before we would recommend somewhere to a client. So if they're advising not to travel, absolutely no way, we wouldn't advise it, no.
Again, sticking with Egypt, say you were on holidays, we'll say, when the revolution happened. And you're booked there for 2 weeks. Are you shipped out immediately then, out of harm's way?
Of course, yes.
Now, is that something you have to go looking for, be it through the embassy, or is it just, look, the rep comes around and says, right, it's going down here today, everybody, we're leaving early?
Yes, the client safety is the number one thing. You know, if there's something going on, everybody needs to be moved. Yes.
Does the opposite often happen? People see somewhere like Egypt, oh, that'll be an exciting place to go to, or Tunisia. Let me have a look at that. Could I book a one-way trip or a holiday trip to Libya? Does the fact that there is a war going on and does that sometimes not even stop some people wanting to go there?
Yes, sometimes people will.
You must have a weird bunch of customers, you know, let's be honest.
Yeah, if there's something going on somewhere, they might think, okay, well, that could be cheap. You know, we might try there.
Or die trying, as they say. Now, do you have specific deals per se?
We do send offers out to our customers, yeah every so often.
And you know, how did your customer find out about you? Okay, I know you had the ad on Today FM, but I suppose by your very nature, you almost have to find your customers as opposed to if you had a budget. Because budget are gone now, isn't they? Or are they still?
Oh no, they're gone.
Oh, they're gone. Yeah. But you know, you always knew who budget were because people queued up at Christmas to get their. You knew where they were, and you went to them. I suppose the business model that's in travelcounsellors.com is the opposite. You have to almost find your customers and go to them. How do you go about finding those customers?
Well, I have a very mixed customer base. An awful lot of my business would be repeat customers or referrals.
Yeah.
So I have people who would just call me all the time saying, look, will you book this for me? I need to go here. Can you sort that out? And then they in turn then would recommend me then to their family, friends, colleagues. And that's how I would get the majority of my business.
Yeah.
I do advertise a little bit maybe in the local paper in the Celt. I have a Facebook page. I have a website. I do a little bit of advertising around the town as well.
Yes,
So
you've taken over one of the shops there. I saw your offers in it before I came in this evening.
Yes, I've advertised in one of the windows. Yeah.
Now, when you say you've advertised, being an agent of travel counsellors, is the advertising and getting the name out for Glenda Heery of Travel Counsellor, is that down to you? Or is there a corporate budget or advertising?
It's both.
It's
yes,
both, yeah.
It's both. I do my own local advertising, and then travel counsellors do their national advertising as well. Yes.
And do you get much business in the area?
I've an awful lot of business in Bailieborough. I always have, over the 12 years that I've worked in travel.
Yeah.
I've always had my customers. Yes. Yeah.
Of course, there used to be a travel agent in Bailieborough when I moved up.
That's right.
There.
Yeah.
Were you in that branch?
I did my work experience.
You did your
there
work
when I was in
experience
college.
there? Oh, it's there that long, is it?
I'm still young, Colm.
Well, I know that, but you did say you were in it 12 years. You
I
know. Of course, you were up here 11 years, I suppose. That's, yeah. And like to the extent that used to be the case, there used to be a little travel agent in little towns like Bailieborough and Kings Court and all the smaller towns dotted around. Sometimes it was the insurance agent, travel agent, and agency for ESB or not EBS at the same time. But as I said, the travel agency has completely changed. You know, a lot of it is done by the very unique way that you do it. You know, you go out to the people. People, I suppose, still deal with, we'll say, the travel agents, but may never say it could all be done on the internet. You might book with a travel agent, but it has this complete difference the way it used to be done, where every time you went in and there was a girl in a uniform sitting there with a big smiley face and said, I'll send you somewhere nice.
Yeah.
Now you do the exact opposite. You still have the smiley face there, I can see that.
Thank you. Yeah, no, there's customers of mine that I have never met. I have just spoken to over the phone or through email.
Yeah. Yes. Well, any customer that is watching that does want to contact you, how do they contact you?
My office number is 042 967 5563, and my Facebook page is Glenda Heery Travel Counsellor, and my email address is glenda.heery@travelcounsellors.com.
So if you're looking for a nice holiday, that's Glenda's the lady to go to. Glenda of travelcounsellors.com, who was our guest this evening on the Business and Enterprise Show. Glenda, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Colm.
And I hope you send lots of people off on lots of nice holidays this year.
Thank you.
I've been Colm Colgan. Good night.